Heading into the 2025 NFL season, the Patriots look a lot different than they did in 2024, where they finished 4-13. Through coaching hires, free agency, and the draft, they've completely changed the culture of this franchise. So what is the outlook for Drake Maye, Mike Vrabel, and the crew? Well, let's get into it. What went wrong for the Patriots last year? Well, it's very easy. The team was injured throughout the season, losing key pieces left and right, horrible coaching, the worst offensive line I've ever witnessed, a rookie quarterback, and no help on offense at all. After the Bengals win in Week 1, there was some hope, but that hope faded quickly. However, there is some hope heading into 2025. It all starts with coaching changes. For the two coordinator spots, they brought in Josh McDaniels in offense and Terrell Williams for the defensive coordinator job. McDaniels is very familiar with New England, having 2 stints with the team from 2002 to 08 and 2012 to 2021, having a ton of success with the Patriots, being a part of all 6 Super Bowl wins. Then there's Terrell Williams, a Vrabel guy, being with him since he started coaching the Titans as the defensive line coach. This is his first time calling plays on defense, but it's almost impossible to be worse than last year's defense. With him being an NFL coach since 2012, being under Aaron Glenn last season, I don't think there should be much concern. Vrabel handpicked Williams, and that says a lot. Even had him as an assistant head coach in 2023. And of course, there is Mike Vrabel. He's head and shoulders an upgrade from Maye. Maye never took accountability for mistakes, just look at the game versus Arizona. Didn't talk to other coaches. Basically just watched the game on the sidelines. Vrabel is a player's coach, heading back home to the place he played a majority of his NFL career. He's already shifted the culture and has players excited to play football again, and fans should expect an improvement by default by adding him as their leader. The team needed more talent this offseason, not just in the coaching staff, but on the field as well. They definitely added some with the amount of money they spent in free agency. This is the perfect time to spend money. You have Drake Maye in a rookie contract, Will Campbell in a rookie contract, and Christian Gonzalez as well, but not for much longer. So even though the Patriots overpaid for some guys, now is the time to do it. Before I continue, if you want to draft Drake Maye in fantasy or put him in a pick'ementary, there's no better place to do it than on Underdog. Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 8 players, higher or lower on their stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. They also have best ball drafts, which I've been doing, and I've got Drake Maye on one of my teams, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams. I even drafted Ramondre on one just because good value late in the draft. So if you guys want to do these things, sign up with code Fanatics because you get a free pick for the pick'ementries, but also a deposit match up to $1,000. Again, that is code Fanatics. The Patriots free agents include defensive tackle Milton Williams, wide receiver Stephon Diggs, we'll get into his contract specifically soon, cornerback Carlton Davis, edge Harold Landry, linebacker Robert Spillane, right tackle Morgan Moses, center Garrett Bradbury, depth pieces such as re-signing Jalen Hawkins, shout out for the 30% tip you gave me this weekend, Matt Collins, Josh Dobbs, and more. Milton Williams joined the team as the #1 ranked free agent on a 4-year, $104 million contract. This came after his time with the Eagles ended in a Super Bowl win, which saw him grade out as the 3rd best defensive tackle in the playoffs and best pass rushing defensive tackle with 14 pressures on 116 pass rushing snaps. He was also the 2nd highest graded pass rushing defensive tackle in the regular season. Williams is looking to be a leader on this defensive line next to Christian Barmore in the interior. While he did get a lot of money, important to look at the guarantees and the outs the team has. If this deal does not work out, the Patriots have an out after 2026, so in the worst case scenario, it's a 2-year deal. Stephon Diggs also signed with the team for a 3-year, $63.5 million deal that also has an out, but instead, it's after this year. The 32-year-old receiver is coming in to be the team's de facto wide receiver 1 after tearing his ACL with the Texans last year. Camp reports suggest he has been far and away the most targeted receiver, which is to be expected, and he could provide great production and a huge role for the McDaniels offense. But again, if it does not work out and he is not the same after the huge injury, he's only truly on the books for 1 year. A guy like him is needed in this locker room. You bring in a veteran wide receiver who has had tons of success in his career to a team that's top targets were Pop Douglas, Keyshawn Boutte, and Hunter Henry last year. Not bad players, but they're all 2nd to 4th options at best. And then cornerback Carlton Davis. He provides a nice cornerback duo with superstar Christian Gonzalez that desperately need an upgrade at the cornerback 2 spot. Davis played well as the Lions cornerback 1, so putting him on the number 2 receiver every game will definitely help his case to be worth his 3-year, $54 million deal that also has an out after 2026. The one bad contract was Harold Landry, but I get it. The Patriots desperately need to upgrade their pass rush and finish last in sacks in 2024. He's also a Vrabel and Terrell Williams guy, being coached by both for most of his tenure in Tennessee. He was vastly overpaid with a 3-year deal worth $43.5 million, but what do you know, there is an out after the 2026 season, so the Patriots will be fine either way. Spillane, Bradbury, and Moses all come in to be projected starters, and I especially expect Moses and Spillane to have an impact. Spillane will help bolster run defense that had the 21st worst EPA against the run, and Moses will be there to fix the right side of the offensive line and move Mike Vrabel back to his natural position of right guard. Bradbury is just a placeholder at center for the year. The Vikings cut him for a reason. But speaking of the offensive line, they may have been the worst I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. The grade out is the second worst pass blocking and the worst run blocking offensive line. Drake Maye had to run for his life, leading to his scramble rate being the second highest in the league at 10.79%, and his sack percentage placing at 35th at 8.15%. Moses will help him the most out of all of the free agent signings, replacing right tackle Demontre Jacobs, who was the worst in the league, all things considered. The draft also helped Drake Maye, as the first 4 picks, all inside the top 100, were spent on offense with left tackle Will Campbell, running back TreVeyon Henderson, wide receiver Kyle Williams, and center Jared Wilson. All 3 of these guys will develop into starters by the end of the rookie deals if they don't start on day 1. Campbell is the premier pick of the bunch, going 4th overall, and he was by far and away the best tackle in the class. He played 3 years at LSU, dominating SEC competition year in and year out. Screw the whole short arms thing. He'll be a tackle in the league and improve the line from day 1. TreVeyon Henderson and Kyle Williams provide much-needed explosiveness in the weapons department of this offense and fit roles in a Josh McDaniels scheme. Running back who can catch passes and block out of the backfield, a wide receiver who can stretch the field vertically and separate at an elite level. Jared Wilson will need some time to develop, but I expect him to start over Bradbury in 2026. They got some defensive players at great values as well, such as defensive tackle Joshua Farmer and edge Braden Swinson. Both will not be expected to impact at a high level right away, which is great for their development, and I expect them to carve out situational roles throughout their rookie deals. But I think Swinson could become something by the end of the year. He is that good. We got a huge value at that pick. But back to the offense. I really like how it's looking. We're talking about an offense that finished 30th in DVOA and 27th in EPA per play last season, but they fixed a lot of their issues. One issue there is right now is there are too many wide receivers on the team. If you look down the list, there are currently 12 receivers on the roster, as there should be in training camp, and it should be expected that 6 to 7 make the team. The only confirmed roster locks are Diggs, Kyle Williams, Demario Douglas, and Kayshon Boutte. I feel like anyone else could be cut, and even Demario or Boutte could be traded, but I don't see that happening. If you have Kayshon as the X, Diggs as the Z, and Demario as the slot, that honestly is not a bad starting receiver group, mixing in Williams and whoever else as well. I was told by Alonzo Highsmith that the fans should expect surprises in this offense, and I believe that will come in the form of Pop Douglas and TreVeyon Henderson. James White and I also talked, and he thinks that Demario will be the breakout player for this Patriots offense. Slot receivers always have huge roles in the McDaniels schemes. Wes Welker led the league in receptions in 08. Edelman had great seasons under him as the most targeted receiver in the offense, and Jacoby Myers was the leading receiver under Mac Jones and McDaniels. So expect Pop Douglas to get more targets than you expect heading into the year. TreVeyon is a very explosive back, much different than most backs McDaniels has worked with, but he definitely has a skill set in the pass game that he looks for. He can run routes very well for a running back, didn't drop a ball last season, gets great leverage on his blocks, and is physical with the defender at the point of attack. He truly will be a huge add to a backfield in need of an explosive playmaker who can protect Drake Maye. They also have Antonio Gibson, another good pass-catching back, and Ramondre Stevenson, the bruising, bigger back who can just run right up the middle and try to gain extra yards when needed. We do have to see what Javon Baker, Jalen Polk, and Efton Chisholm are in training camp. Scouts have told me that they love Efton Chisholm as a prospect and think he has a real shot to make the team. I mean, it's their job to find these guys, but I think he'll be on the practice squad and maybe see some run towards the end of the year, injuries, something like that. But Polk and Baker are from a previous coaching staff. Baker is a long shot to make the roster, which if you know me, that's painful for me to hear, and Polk should make it. But I have questions on if he can truly be a starting caliber receiver in the NFL after being a second-round pick in 2024. This offense could be a top 20 unit, which is all they need. The offensive line is still an issue, but as long as Demontre Jacobs, Layden Robinson, Ben Brown, and Caden Wallace do not start many games, then it should be an all-right unit. The additions of Campbell, Moses, moving on Manu back to guard, maybe even Cole Strange coming back from injury are huge for Drake Maye's development, on top of the Williams, Diggs, and Henderson additions. It is clear to me, and should be everybody, that this defense will be a top 10 unit if healthy, despite finishing 30th in DVOA and EPA per play last year, because the front seven saw massive upgrades, including getting Christian Barmore back from blood clots, Milton Williams of course, and even though it was a huge overpay, Harold Landry can provide some value. Keon White was better than the box score numbers may say for all you sack watchers. He finished 19th in pass rush grade and had 45 pressures. This group also has Braden Swinson and Anthony Jennings rotating in. Barmore and Williams will be one of the best, if not the best, pass rushing duo from the interior. It's a solid core of pass rushers. I really feel bad for Keon White last year because he was the only decent pass rusher on just a bad team, making his stats look worse than they really are. And the front seven as a whole is strong. At linebacker, you got Robert Spillane, Christian Ellis, Jelani Tavai, and another Vrabel guy, Jack Gibbons. This is a group that can stop the run with a couple guys that are solid in coverage as well. Tavai is the most interesting piece in my opinion. Last season was a down year for him, but the 2 prior years, he was good to great in coverage and amazing against the run. I'm excited to see what Spillane specifically can do for this run defense that I brought up earlier was 21st in EPA. I think he will have a huge role in this team and be the team's best linebacker. The secondary is also one of the most underrated groups in the NFL, mostly due to health last year. Kyle Duggar missed 4 games, and Jabril Peppers missed 11 games. That is a big reason why this team only first 12 turnovers, tied for 31st in the league. When Jabril Peppers is healthy, he's one of the most dynamic, explosive playmakers at that safety position. I would say even like top 7 when he is fully healthy, at least 2 seasons ago. But then you add the additions of Carlton Davis, rookie Craig Woodson, and those guys coming back healthy, I would expect the secondary to see improvement by default. However, the cornerback depth concerns me a little bit. After Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez, there's nickel Marcus Jones, rookie Kobe Minor, the Mr. Relevant, Marcellus Dial, and Alex Austin, amongst other names. Alex Austin has been solid when he has seen the field, but it's not on a big sample size because he really just doesn't see it often. Marcus Jones has been inconsistent throughout his career. Whether it's injuries or inconsistencies on the field, you don't know what you're going to get out of the athletic nickel, who honestly was kind of like Travis Hunter before in his rookie season. But Carlton Davis is also known to miss time, having not played in more than 14 games in a single season his entire career. So it is basically a fact that the depth corners will have to step up to the plate for this team, and I don't know if they can. Who knows? We'll really just have to see come week 8 or something like that if injuries start to come in when our bye week is week 14. So at some point, we're going to have to see these guys get on the field and play well next to Christian Gonzalez. If the defense can stay healthy, this is easily, and I mean easily, a top 10 unit in the sport. They may not have stars at every position, but at the spots they don't have good elite stars, they have great depth and solid starters to provide the type of production that the team needs. And finally, the best part about the 2025 Patriots is their schedule. They have one of the easiest schedules in the league. It is the 3rd easiest according to PFF's advanced strength of schedule and the regular strength of schedule metrics. The first 8 games, there's a serious chance they go 6-2. The only games I could seriously see them losing are at Miami, at home versus Pittsburgh, and at Buffalo. I think they'll beat Pittsburgh since it's at home. If it was in Acrisure Stadium, it may be a different story. From weeks 9 to 18, they have 5 games I would say are very losable against the Falcons, Bucks, Bengals, Ravens, and Bills. The rest I would say are wins for the Patriots. Given that math, if you know how to do simple math, I have the Patriots going 10-7. The moves this front office has made to bring in this coaching staff, led by Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, Terrell Williams, really guys that are there for the players and make them feel like a real unit instead of a coach that doesn't want to take the accountability that a head coach should and talks like a player. And then the new players they brought on this roster through the draft and free agency have raised the floor of this team by a lot, barring injuries. If everything goes right for New England, Foxborough could be looking at a playoff hopeful team for the first time since 2021, or just a team that really gives them hope for the future.